We are exploring. Today we're in Conway, Arkansas, the city of colleges. Or should we better call this town City of Roundabouts? Because they have many of these traffic circles. In 2019, there were 26 roundabouts in Conway, and they were planning to complete 6 more until 2021. In this part 1 of the 2-part series about the traffic circles in Conway, Arkansas, I am going to show you around. We're gonna drive around a few of these traffic circles, and I'm going to tell you some of the advantages of this way of routing traffic. In part 2 of this 2-part series, I am going to tell you a little more about the history of traffic circles or roundabouts, and also how popular this way of routing traffic is in European countries. You would not believe it. There are 60,000 roundabouts in the whole world. And there is one country, you heard that right, there is one country that has half of all these. There's one country with 30,000 roundabouts. And in part 2 of this 2-part series, I am going to reveal the answer. That video is going to be out next week. You see, we've traveled some of these roundabouts in Conway. Some call them traffic circle. They're also known as road circle, rotary, rotunda, or island, because they have an island in the center. This one here is interesting. This is a combination of 2 roundabouts that are adjacent to each other and form the figure 8. Citizens of Conway call it the Crazy 8, but it's not that crazy actually, because traffic circles or roundabouts have only one drawback. We are here on Hark Rider. That is a combination of, I believe, 3 roundabouts that are about half a mile apart from each other. The only drawback with roundabouts is that if you are not used to them, you need a few tries to familiarize yourself with the way the traffic is handled. Now, how it works is simple. The traffic in the circle has the right of way, and vehicles entering the circle yield at the entrances. Now, that sounds easy enough, and there are signs to remind you to yield. Sometimes I just drive around and I'm not sure where I want to go, and traffic circles or roundabouts are perfect for that, because you can just, and that's what I'm doing here, stay in the traffic circle and drive around and around until you've made up your mind on where you want to go. Oh, there are the barriers again. That's an area they're developing. This is probably more of an industrial area, not a residential area. And I'm driving in circles here. There are the barriers again. Now let me tell you more about the advantages of roundabouts. They are less frustrating because there are no unnecessary stops with no traffic or at night. They're also rewarding because if you pay attention to the traffic, you keep rolling. They're good for your brakes because most of the time there's no need to stop. And they are also good for the environment because the stop and go at traffic lights increases carbon dioxide emissions. They are also cheaper because there are no traffic lights needed, and these things are expensive and they use electricity. Roundabouts are safer. There are no traffic light poles to run into, and the conflicts between cars and pedestrians are reduced. I'm going to explain this in more detail in part 2. There are fewer T-bone and head-on collisions, and roundabouts allow U-turns in the normal flow of traffic. Here's a scene of one of my favorite movies, the National Lampoon's Family Vacation to Europe. European Vacation, I believe, is the name of this movie. And the Grace Waltz here with Clark Griswold on the wheel are stuck on the inner lane here in a traffic circle in London, United Kingdom, and they can't make it out. Here is one more thing about traffic circles. They keep heavy traffic like 18-wheelers away from city streets where they take shortcuts, and they keep them on the highway. And as I said, this is a little exaggerated in this movie. The only downside to roundabouts is that it takes you a few tries where you have to pay close attention to what you are doing until you're familiar with them. Wow, every time I think I've seen them all, I take a turn in Conway, Arkansas, the city of roundabouts, and there is one more of them I have not seen. Join me next week for part 2 of this series about the roundabouts in Conway, Arkansas. I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it.